It's G from the Academy. Slightly out of focus. And Facebook is not letting me see the chat. Yeah, Facebook is being very annoying. Okay. I can handle that. I can handle that. I can handle it being annoying. I can handle that. I can like I could handle the microphone volumes going up and down all by themselves yesterday. Hey, it's G from the Academy. Welcome to another live broadcast. We will be online for 1 hour, probably, today. Now, what's going on? What's going on? Everybody wants something from me. Have you had those days where everybody wants something from you? Nobody asks you if you want to give something to them, but everybody wants something from you. It's just so incredibly frustrating. Anyway, while I was looking, let's start with this. I was looking for some music to play as an introduction to the session, and the trouble is a lot of stuff is now they have these algorithm programs that go all over the internet, and they pick up the audio from everywhere. So if you play like a little clip of somebody else's song, even if it's just a little clip, they either cut the feed to your video or they block it from being on the internet, which means I can't really play any of the music from any of my favorite bands, which, like I said, is just frustrating. It's just frustrating. So, for those of you that know me, I used to have a music company. Closed it about 8 years ago now, and we did a lot of concerts, a lot of events, bands from all over the world, a lot of parties, a lot of fun, and we had this band that came here from Austria playing rock and roll called the Jimmy Hoffa Band, and they're pretty much underground, and I imagine they would not have a problem with me using their audio, but you never know. So we'll see if this stays up on the internet or the feed gets cut, but the intro is going to be the Jimmy Hoffa Band, Run with the Devil, rock and roll. Hi to those online. We'll get 2 minutes to Jimmy Hoffa, and then we're going to talk news stories. Just kind of faded down there. Jimmy Hoffa Band, Run with the Devil, rock and roll. Nothing like a good bit of rock and roll online. Right, you ever have days, I was starting with, you ever have days when people want things from you, but they don't ask you if you want to give them stuff? What a pain in the ass that is. So, while that goes on, I'm going to do my URL thing, which is right-click on the video that's going live on my page, and then I'm going to copy and paste it to my other Facebook pages so that the information gets out. We will see. Got an email. Nice to get an email from someone who's asking you in advance if something is okay. You ask me in advance if something's okay. Can I do this? Can I do that? Yeah, that's cool. It's like those people who just Skype me and then are angry that I don't answer the Skype. I'll talk about that more in a minute. This is the Academy live broadcast. Copy and pasting the URL to my other pages right now. Facebook is thinking about sharing it. Well, thank you very much for thinking about it. Right, it would be much better if you just shared it. Right, super cool. Going out now. Hopefully there will be less problems today with the audio than there were yesterday. Thank you to all the people holding on and hanging on to yesterday's broadcast. 400 plus views on the broadcast made it a record broadcast. Thank you very much, which probably means I'll get 100 today because I imagine a lot of people tuned in for the first time. They probably decided they didn't like it, and they probably won't tune in again. But hell's bells, that's the way that it goes. So moving on. Yeah, let people know in advance. The people who Skype me and then get frustrated, or people who call me like, you didn't pick up the phone, I tried to call you. Well, if it's important, write a message, write an SMS, write an email, try to contact me another way. Yes, but I did try to call you. That means you're not listening. You're not listening to me, right? Couple of questions I got from people recently, which is how do you do the online broadcast, not just technically, but how do you talk to someone when no one is there? You have to imagine that there is someone there. That's how you do it. You have to imagine that there's somebody else at the other side listening in. You can even, I got this couple of images on my screen, and one of them is replaying the video as it goes out, so I can check that the stream quality is okay. So I'm sort of talking to myself there, or I can talk to myself there, or sometimes I practice talking to whatever is around about me. Something here I can show you from the office. Okay. This is really rather embarrassing, but my daughter loves this. This is Lonsdale. Sometimes I practice by talking to Lonsdale here. Wave at the camera, Lonsdale. There you go. So all those little things help. Another warm day in Banskoby streets. Yeah, it's pretty warm. So it's pretty nice outside. Lots of people being busy, doing their stuff. You can see behind me on the page the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, because we have, get the grammar right, we have 530 subscribers. We've had over 100,000 views, and it's an educational channel. An educational channel with a lot of views, an educational channel based in nowhere with a lot of views like that is quite rare. So like I was trying to explain to a group of people yesterday that it matters where you are, even if it's just on the internet, it matters where you are. You know, why do people want to have addresses like Oxford Street or Pennsylvania Avenue or I don't know, President's Drive or something like that? Because it matters. It matters. It makes a difference. Into news and other things to follow. Right, enough from me. I would like to thank my online friend, Tony Frick, who I know through Facebook. You probably will never see this video, but thank you anyway, mate. And I'd like to thank him because of a video that he posted, not just because he shared Paul Joseph Watson's work, who's a journalist that I really admire, but also he shared it, and it's got what do you call it? Subtitles. That's it. It's got subtitles in Slovak for my Slovak friends. So you can listen in English and read the Slovak subtitles, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to start today with a little bit of a rant that Paul Joseph Watson had about modern culture. I remember the music group Blur, talking about music earlier. I remember the music group Blur had this album, Modern Life is Rubbish. And there are so many parts of modern culture which are fantastic, and so many parts of modern culture which are as cheap and useless as bubblegum. They just need to be thrown away. So Paul had a little bit of a rant about the state of some elements of modern culture and how it is affecting the world around about. So I'm going to pull that up for you, hopefully. Media player disappear. Thank you very much. I'm also going to move myself to the other side. Means I'm looking the wrong way, but who cares? Can actually flip that, you know. Can flip that using the technology. See, look at that. Now I'm facing the right way. How cool is that? It's not cool at all. Okay, I get the point. So, Paul Joseph Watson. Where are you, Mr. Watson? He's over here. There we go. This is Paul Joseph Watson. Sorry, it's a little bit off the screen, but there's not much I can do about that. Paul Joseph Watson, give us your take on modern culture. Oh, if you've got any comments, write them. I've got 15 boxes open here on my desktop. Write them in the chat. The chat box is somewhere. Write your comments and questions in the chat box. That's the Facebook chat box. Got it? Got it. Okay, cool. Take it away, mate. I hope the audio is okay.
More vulgar, vapid, self-absorbed, hedonistic and dehumanizing than at any other time in living memory. Culture is supposed to be uplifting. It's supposed to infuse our lives with intrigue, lust for knowledge, and appreciation of beauty. Instead, for the past 2 decades, pop culture has only served as a sewer pipe of projectile diarrhea aimed directly at our gawping mouths. By its very definition, popular culture has always been mass-produced for mass consumption. But over the last 20 years, as I'm sure you've noticed, pop culture has become significantly more vacuous and obscene. It's a rancid assault on the senses. Why is popular culture so contrived, plastic, empty, meaningless, grotesque, and incredibly retarded? Because from the 20th century onwards, postmodernist, moral relativist, critical theory espousing, cultural Marxist nihilists began to seize control of society. Postmodernism seeks to erase the distinction between high culture and popular culture. They want to turn everything on its head. In simple terms, postmodernists have sought to reshape society in their image. And that's why everything's so ugly. From architecture to art to music to entertainment, they're making everything hideous. The goal? To completely undermine the foundation of Western civilization and leave us open to subversion and capitulation. Look at television. TV's endless portrayal of broken families, emasculated male figures, and aberrant, nihilistic, droog-like youths. The stars of so-called reality television are virtually always narcissistic, amoral, and borderline insane. They have no redeeming traits, indoctrinating us with the idea that this is actual reality, that this is how we should act too.
You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs.
In the decadent late stages of a society, bizarre behaviour proliferates and is legitimised by the dominant culture. They're fetishizing pathology. We're even seeing the mainstreaming of paedophilia by the news and entertainment media. Salon.com giving a platform to a wannabe child molester. Articles that legitimise watching child porn. A new Fox show that shows a transgender 6-year-old wearing a sadomasochistic ball gag. This is all intended to drag us down into the gutter. Once we absorb this kind of degeneracy, our moral filter is irreparably damaged. Studies show that the more TV you watch, the more depressed you are, even for active people who exercise regularly. And is it really any wonder, given the warped and corrosive view of humanity that is perpetuated by television?
We are their cattle. We are being bred for slavery. The revolution.
Can somebody please explain to me what the hell that's all about?
Just that idiot licking his nuts again.
Popular culture is also hypersexualized. It's not prudish to observe that the sexual imagery we're bombarded with by television is infinitely more gratuitous than it was just 25 years ago. Even pornography itself is becoming uglier and nastier. It's documented that this hypersexualization process has normalized cheating and betrayal. It's this, oh, everyone else is doing it, so why not me mentality. Hypersexuality in popular culture leads to ruined relationships and failed marriages. Pop culture is making us miserable and lonely. Look at the cult of celebrity. Being famous used to require having actual talent, even as recently as 20 years ago. Now, the measure of fame a celebrity achieves is directly proportionate with the volume of tasteless debauchery that they inflict on the world. Vulgarity has replaced talent. The more vulgar and ostentatious, the better. Thanks to social media, young people have been indoctrinated into this idea that narcissism, not fulfillment, not meaning, not authenticity, but narcissism is the ultimate measure of satisfaction and importance. Celebrity is just a reflection of that. So what do we look for in our celebrities? Talent? Meaning? Authenticity? No. We look for narcissism. When 16-year-olds were asked in a survey, what would you like to do for your career? 54% answered, become a celebrity. Yet nearly 70% of them had no idea whatsoever how they would achieve this.
Sometimes when I watch TV, I stop being myself and I'm a star of a series or I have my own talk show or I'm on the news getting out of a limo, going someplace important. All I ever have to do is be famous. People watch me and they love me.
It's no surprise that since the explosion of celebrity-led narcissism, young people are more depressed than ever. Suicides amongst those aged 10 to 24 are up every year since 2010. Why are you all so unhappy? Because you're aspiring to something completely vacuous and unobtainable for the vast majority of people. Popular culture is making us miserable. Celebrities are now more revered than religious icons. This is why people suddenly turn into gushing morons whenever a celebrity dies, rendered blubbering idiots over somebody they never knew and never even met. In many cases, someone they weren't even interested in until they died. It's like North Korean competitive crying every other week. And look at celebrities who wake up from their coma and use their platform to bite the hand that feeds them by questioning what they're a part of.
I've got one that can see.
When Kanye went off script and started decrying the popular culture he once served, they put him in a psych ward.
Cause y'all been lied to. They can't play what they want to play. Because they've been paid to play that bullshit over and over and over.
Look at how the custodians of pop culture treat celebrities who think for themselves or who challenge the status quo. They're immediately dispensed with because the entire scam is dependent on a complete lack of diversity, a vicious intolerance of anything that's truly original or unpredictable. That's why popular culture is so sterile. And you know, it's ironic that one of the most popular talent shows is called The X Factor. Given that the introduction of actual X factors, i.e. unknown quantities, into the system would cause it to collapse. Look at popular music. The same handful of people writing and producing songs for the same handful of popular artists. Why do you think everything sounds the same? The same procession of electronic beats, repeated hooks and verbal diarrhea that passes for popular music now. Music is less diverse and the lyrics are more dumbed down than ever before.
Man, rap today fucking sucks bad. They're not even saying words anymore. They just got a hard-ass fucking beat to trick dumbasses like you to make you think you like the shit.
We've hit a brick wall.
We certainly have hit a brick wall. Okay, thank you very much. That was Mr. Paul Joseph Watson giving us his take on postmodern culture, popular culture. And I have to say that generally I agree, because people will follow whatever the trend is. Whatever is promoted as being cool, they will follow what it is. Whatever most of the people are doing, they will follow what it is, because they'll think there must be something there that we like, or that we'll find that has value. And that's essentially not true. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your take is. You can write in the chat. If there's something which you think goes against this trend, if there's something that you think that is cool, then you can let me know. Right. Moving on. We have time limits today, and I tend to go on and on. Music. I'm not sure we're going to get through this. This is a big article, but let's get on to it. Slightly alternative educational element. Music. I think I need to do something with the screen here. I don't want to be on the left. I want to be on the right. Okay, so I can put myself over there. At least I can hide some of the advertisements. They're quite terrible. Flip the mirror. There we go. Back to the other side. Looking the right way. And what's on the radar? Music lessons. Music lessons. You play an instrument? You play something? You want to play something? Okay, let's write it in the chat. Article. Music lessons. Not going to write it all. The best thing. I had piano lessons when I was young. And I can still play a bit of piano today, and I think that gave me a good perspective on the world. And on the world of music, and there's so much great that's incorporated within music itself. And as I said, still today I can play a little bit. The skills haven't gone away. What you learn when you're young stays with you your entire life, and the younger you are when you learn it, the bigger an impression it has. So this is for my parents out there. This is for my friends who are interested in music. And if you don't play a musical instrument, pick one up, try. Invest a little bit of time. There's so much good that it can do for you. Anyway, let's get into the article. It's just not important what I think, because other people have done more work than me. Wow. I will try to highlight it as we go through. Title is, where's the title? There we go. Music lessons were the best thing your parents ever did for you, according to science. If your parents ever submitted you to regular music lessons as a kid, you probably got in a fight with them once or twice about it. Maybe you didn't want to go, maybe you didn't like practicing. But we have some bad news. They were right. It turns out all those endless major scale exercises and repetitions of chopsticks had some incredible effects on our minds. I mean, just think about the memory skills, and just think about the concepts of the harmony implied within the music. Anyway, psychological studies continue to uncover more and more benefits that music lessons provide to developing minds. One incredibly comprehensive longitudinal study produced by the German Socio-Economic Panel, I wonder who they are, in 2013, stated the power of music lessons as plain as could be. Music, okay, let's make this a new box. Music improves cognitive and non-cognitive skills more than twice as much as sports, theatre, or dance. The study found that kids who take music lessons have better cognitive skills and school grades and are conscientious, open, and ambitious. And that's just the beginning. I mean, think about it. Have you ever tried to like play a piano with two hands, and you have one hand doing one thing and one hand doing another thing? Or have you ever tried to play drums? Yeah. Try to play drums where you've got one hand doing one rhythm, one hand doing another rhythm, and the feet doing something completely different. I tried it. I can't do it. What do you call a friend whose friends are all musicians? A drummer. Right. Drummers, they always get the worst of it, right? The following list is a sampling of the vast amount of neurological benefits that music lessons can provide. Considering this vast diversity, it's baffling that there are still kids in this country who are not receiving high-quality music education in their schools. Every kid should have this same shot at success. So first of all, they discovered that reading music, studying music, learning music, playing music, it improved your reading and verbal skills. Cool, huh? You don't want to click on that. Several studies have found strong links between pitch processing and language processing abilities. Good for all your language teachers out there. Researchers out of Northwestern University found that 5 skills underlie language acquisition: phonological awareness, speech in noise perception, rhythm perception, auditory working memory, and the ability to learn sound patterns. Through reviewing a series of longitudinal studies, they discovered that each these what's wrong with people? Why can't they get the language right? Each of these skills is exercised and strengthened by music lessons. Children randomly assigned to music training alongside reading training performed much better than those who received other forms of non-musical stimulation, such as painting or other visual arts. You've got to kind of feel bad for those kids randomly assigned into art classes. Part 2, it's improved your mathematical and spatial temporal reasoning. Did you know you have spatial temporal reasoning? Music is deeply mathematical in nature. Mathematical relationships determine intervals in scales, the arrangement of keys, and the subdivisions of rhythm. It makes sense then that children who receive high-quality music training also tend to score higher in math. This is because of the improved abstract spatial temporal skills young musicians gain. According to a feature written for PBS education, these skills are vital for solving the multi-step problems that occur in our agricultural, engineering, math, art, gaming, and especially working with computers. With these gains, those in verbal and reading abilities succeed in any field they decide to pursue. How cool is that? Right. Let's take a couple of these quotes. Take a couple of these quotes and put them in the chat so that we can review them afterwards. There we go. There's the first one, except it's not giving me an option to post it. Okay, it does now. And hopefully you can see what's happening in the chat. If you can't, you need to have a closer look at what's going on. What was the other part at the beginning? 5 skills underline language acquisitions, and music helps with those 5 skills. That's also key. Super cool. Right. So language skills, mathematical skills. It helped grades. How did it help grades? Let's have a look. There we go. In a 2007 study, Christopher Johnson, a professor of music education and language therapy, at the University of Kansas, found that elementary schools with superior music education programs scored around 22% higher in English and 20% higher in math scores on standardized tests compared to schools with low quality music programs. A 2013 study out of Canada found the same. Every year that scores were measured, the mean grades of the students who chose music were higher than those who chose other extracurriculars. While neither of these studies can necessarily prove causality, both do point out a strong correlative connection. The power of music. I mean, if it can be used this strongly for the power of good, think about what Paul Joseph Watson was saying in the earlier article. Think about what he was saying about how you can use music to control ideas within society. They're all little pieces of a big puzzle that we're trying to fit together. Music, it raised IQ. Surprisingly, though music is primarily an emotional art form, music training actually provides bigger gains in academic IQ than emotional IQ. Numerous studies have found that musicians generally boast higher IQs than non-musicians. And while these lessons don't necessarily guarantee you'll be smarter than the schlub who didn't learn music, they definitely made you smarter than you would have been without them. There's an interesting word. Schlub. What does that mean? That's not a common English word. Copy. Let's just pop over here to Google, and we'll type in define. Oh, it's jumped up to the top of the page. How inconvenient. Schlub. Let's see what it says. A talentless, unattractive, or boorish person. As if we know what boorish is. Talentless. Hey, if you're interested in language, let me give you a piece of software here, which is really cool. I think I got it somewhere here. VisuWords. VisuWords. Check this out. Visual Thesaurus and Dictionary. Should I click Explore or go to the main menu? Let's go to the main menu and let's go to the home page. And it's going to add to the same page again. Yeah, it's clever. Very clever. There's no choice except Explore. Check this out. You put in a word and they give you all the different types of relationships visually for the word. It's pretty cool, really. Where'd you put the word? Put the word in the top. So I copy the word. I copy the word talent. Let's see what it does with the word talent. Talent. Okay, so we've got talent, talent, expert, ace, to be adept, to be a champion, person, individual, someone. Talent. We've also got endowment, gift. We can also pull these things around as well. Put that over there. Yeah, we can move these things around and explore. It's a nice little piece of software there. Okay, that's for the language freaks out there. Like me, who want to know where everything comes from, why it comes from there. So, anything to copy and paste into the chat? Numerous studies have found that musicians generally boast higher IQs than non-musicians. There you go. I can think of a lot of musicians that I don't think have high IQs, but I guess that's something different. Moving on, remember, if you like this video, you can right-click on it, copy the URL, paste it somewhere where people can find it. To share is to care. Oh, I like that. Let's write that down. To share is to care. Music helps us to learn languages more quickly. It helped learn languages more quickly. Okay, that's cool. Let's see what the data says. Children who start studying music early in life develop stronger linguistic abilities. They develop more complex vocabularies, a more nuanced understanding of grammar, and higher verbal IQs. These benefits don't just impact children's learning of their first language, but also their ability to learn every language they attempt to learn in the future. Sweet, huh? Sweet. The Guardian reports music training plays a key role in the development of a foreign language in its grammar, colloquialisms, and vocabulary. These heightened language acquisition abilities will follow students their whole lives and will aid them when they need to pick up new tongues late in adulthood. What a great phrase for languages, new tongues. Of course, the Slovak word for language is the same as for the word tongue. It's developing those neural connective pathways, isn't it, in the mind, in the human brain. It's developing those connections there. How many of these are there? We're on number 6. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to be here forever. Okay. I'm going to do a few more, and then I'll probably take a break and come back this evening and finish it off. Probably. There was something else I wanted to share. I just can't remember what it was. Oh, the link to this article. Yeah, if you want to read through the article yourself, I will paste it into the chat. The article link. Give it capital letters. There we go. So I'm copying and pasting the link of the article that talks about music into the chat, and you can pick that up wherever, whenever, however you like. How are we doing for time? I'll get one or two more in. 6. It made you a better listener, which will help you a lot when you're older, not just when you're older as well. Communication, I think, really is about 80% listening and 20% speaking. Anyone who's speaking more doesn't really get the point. And I'm going to write that as a coaching point in the chat there. In my opinion, from my experience, communication is 80% listening to try to be clear that you understand the other person's opinion. So what does it say? Musical training makes people far more sensitive listeners, which can help tremendously as people age. Musicians who keep up with their instrument enjoy a much slower decline in peripheral, to think about that for a second, peripheral hearing. They can avoid what scientists refer to as the cocktail party problem, in which older people have trouble self-isolating specific voices or musical tones from a noisy background. Yeah, it might just be that they don't actually want to listen, in my experience. A lot of people, and then there's a lot of people who listen, but they don't really hear what people are saying. So that's a bit frustrating, I think, especially as I know people around about me who do that. Mother, one of those people, perhaps. But not that I'm not guilty of doing that myself. I think we're all guilty of doing that a little bit. Hey, let me share something with you. You want to hear something? Let me share something with you. I just got an email. It's over there. I just got an email from my mother with the job in it. With a job advertisement. My mother sent me a job advertisement. You have to wonder when your parents do that. Not that it's a bad thing. It does make you wonder though a little bit. I wonder if she'd like me to live a little bit closer to home. I wonder if this is a suggestion. Could be. Right. Beware of the manipulation of the parents. We normalize it when we're young, and then we trap ourselves in it when we are a little bit older. So I've gone through 6 of the elements, and I've posted the link. And if we look back very quickly at, I'm going to go through the chat now. Use the chat. Look back very quickly at some of the key points. Want to review the key points so that we don't forget. Interesting. Facebook does not want me to see the key points. Okay. Here we go. Music lessons, the best things. It makes sense that children who receive high-quality music training also score higher in maths. This is because of the improved abstract spatial temporal skills young musicians gain. Think about writing music. Think about projecting the mind to understand what's coming next. Think about synchronizing with other people. 5 skills underlie language acquisition: phonological awareness, speech in noise perception, rhythm perception, auditory working memory, and the ability to learn sound patterns, all of which we find in music. Continuing. Every year, in one study, every year that scores were measured, the mean grades, the average grades of students who chose music were higher than those who chose extracurricular activities, other activities. Music, art, and sport very often underestimated in the curriculums. Numerous studies have found that musicians generally boast higher IQs. Generally. Yeah, except for the ones that drink too much and smoke too much and inject too much. Right. Continuing. Music training plays a key role in the development of a foreign language in its grammar, colloquialisms, and vocabulary. Followed by link to article. My suggestion: communication is 80% listening. Remember that, 80% listening. Listening is communication, a big part of it. Right, so we need to focus on that. I want to go back to Paul Joseph Watson. Facebook has been blocking his articles because they're just too good, and it's sad, really. He has a very interesting take on what's happening in the modern culture. So we'll go back to that, then maybe I'll make a few comments, and then maybe we'll round up and close down the session. We'll see how it goes. Where are you, Mr. Watson? Paul Joseph Watson. Oh yeah, and there's titles from my Slovak friends out there, so that you can get a translation along with the main article. And I just put myself over there, flip it around. Super sweet. It's going to cut up a bit. There's not much I can do about it. It's a Facebook thing, but it's well worth going through. Gives you a bit of time to focus as well if you don't have English as a first language. Those little pauses give your brain time to catch up.
There hasn't been a single authentic movement in popular music for the last quarter of a century. And look at the effect it's had. Young people were once able to channel their self-loathing, their anger, through the medium of rebellious music. Think punk, grunge, goth. Now, they're all growing up listening to sterile drivel like One Direction and Maroon 5. Yes, we always had manufactured plastic crap, but we also had alternatives. Now there are no alternatives. They just don't get the airtime. MTV used to play alternative music videos.
Is that what they mean when they say videos have symbolism?
What does MTV play now? 16 and pregnant musicians with actual talent and authenticity, because they still exist, are prevented from challenging this sterile status quo, while talentless button-pushing, noise-vomiting DJs are deified. Millennials have been stripped of the ability to diffuse their adolescent rage and alienation into music or subculture. So they turn to the mental ghetto of identity politics instead. And that hasn't gone so well. What has my generation contributed to advance popular culture over the last 30 years? Humiliatingly little. Seriously, what have we contributed? Can you name anything positive? Gangster rap? A movement that encouraged millions upon millions of young people to aspire to act like degenerate criminal thugs. Yeah, that worked out great, didn't it? But then look at someone like Hopsin. Here's a guy who raps about how retarded and destructive gangster chic is. A guy who tells young people to get off drugs and live clean. What happens to musicians like Hopsin? Yeah, some of them get signed to big labels, but then they get parked for 3 years, or their albums are deliberately given no promotion. They're never allowed to obtain superstar status.
How did rap music go from really good to so dry? Real artists get shelved and whack ones get famous. To leave masses brainless, a smart mind is dangerous.
Because their message represents a threat to cultural Marxism, a threat to the toxic identity that the music industry force feeds young people. Look at youth counterculture. In the past, youth culture was spearheaded by students. They created the counterculture, which then trickled down into pop culture. What are students busying themselves with today? Safe spaces, political correctness, virtue signalling, and gender studies. When did being cool become about parroting everyone else's opinions?
They are socially conscious citizens and are provoked by the loathsome presence of an unmutual.
They are sheep.
When did being hip become about writing laborious Facebook posts about how progressive you are? As Theodore Dalrymple noted, the pressure to conform to canons of popular taste, or rather lack of taste, has never been stronger. Everyone's petrified of constant social media surveillance by their peers.
Reactionary! Rebel!
Disharmonious!
Rebel! Reactionary!
And we force ourselves to swallow this rotten culture, just so we can feel an affinity with our peers, so we can fit in. That's why there's no discernible youth counterculture. It's all predicated on conformity.
You must conform. Yes. It is my sworn duty to see that you do conform.
And kids today are so satiated with the deluge of entertainment on offer that they have no time or interest in rebelling against the received culture. No time to create their own look. No inclination to form their own ideas about the world, when it's so much easier to just regurgitate what Russell Brand or Meryl Streep is saying, whether it be fashion, art, music, literature, comedy. Culture has been completely sanitized. There is no counterculture, and that's why, with very few exceptions, everyone looks the same. Same haircut, same beard, same clothes, same meaningless tattoos, same lazy cynicism, same political views, same outlook. There's no authenticity, there's no daring, there's no individuality. Look at modern conceptual art. The postmodernist war on absolute truth has spawned the demented belief that anything whatsoever can be considered art. Why is modern art that requires skill or displays awe-inspiring beauty ignored in favour of tawdry trash? Literally trash. Have you ever visited Tate Modern in London? It's a giant building full of scrap metal, concrete blocks, urinals, and this, whatever it is. They call it an art gallery. It more closely resembles a landfill site. What does this look like to you? Dog food and a turd? No, it's conceptual art. The postmodernists decree that literally everything has to be part of a social justice movement. Has also inspired feminists to...
And on it goes. It's a great report. We don't have time to play it all. What's the title of the report? I'm not even sure. You can find Paul Joseph Watson on YouTube. Let's go to the Academy page here, and if you type in Paul Joseph, I prefer to link on Facebook. Yes, but all the stuff doesn't get through. Don't you understand? All the stuff doesn't get through. And you can click on Paul Joseph Watson at the top. And rumor has it he was invited by the American government establishment to work as a White House press reporter, and he turned it down, saying that he didn't want to leave London town. There you go. So his latest video is what's really happening in Sweden. I kind of worry about these the use of what's really happening. Does anyone know what's really happening? It's definitely a very powerful perspective with evidence on what's happening. There we go. That's Paul's channel. It's pretty cool. And let's hop over to my channel. Bit of promo for me. 750 videos on the site. Also mirrored over are these presentations from Facebook. So you can subscribe. Click the subscribe at the top, and you find a little bell next to it. You should click the bell as well. Flip. There we go. I'm back on. So thank you very much for paying attention. Today we looked a little bit at music and education and personal development. We listened to the counterculture ideas of Paul Joseph Watson and his idea that because of cultural Marxism, modern life is rubbish. Well, that's his opinion. What's your opinion? Let me know. And what else? Oh, I showed you the visual words as well. I showed you the visual words. And I should put a link to that in the chat, shouldn't I? There we go. Visual words with the link with my word talent on it there. I'm sure you'll be able to work out how it works. There you go. The link is in the chat now. So thank you very much for paying attention. Thank you very much for being here, for being present, for listening. Wherever you are, I wish you a great day. Go out, get things done, and a little bit of coaching advice to finish with today. The coaching advice is bring it forward. Let me write that in the chat. Bring it forward. Bring it forward. What do I mean by bring it forward? Whatever you do earlier in your day, that activity will be potentially more successful. So if you bring it forward, bring it closer to the beginning of the day, then there's a higher chance it'll get done. So what that means is the very first thing you want to do in the day, there's probably 100% chance you'll get it done. The second thing, it's probably 90% chance. The third thing, probably 60 to 80%. The fourth thing, probably 50 to 80. And then you get to, as you go through the day, the percentage possibility of being successful with activities goes down. So bring it forward, bring it to the beginning of the day, and there's a higher potential chance of success. Camera's over there, screen's over there. I feel my neck going. Yeah, right. What else? No, just focus on that. Bring it forward, bring it to the front. Little things, big differences. That's it. Step by step, we make these changes. I played in today with the Jimmy Hoffa Band, and maybe we can go out today. Same kind of way. Bit of rock and roll music. Oh yeah, before we explode, check out the home site nsa-slovakia.com. Link to us on Facebook. We've got a private Facebook group, the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. You can find us on there. I'm also on YouTube and on Pinterest. So keep in touch and spread the word if you like it. And remember, it's your show. You can comment. You can suggest articles. You can suggest videos. You can suggest information. If you want more, all the contact details are at the bottom of the screen, running along. So find it there. Back whenever I can. Be back. It's the Jimmy Hoffa Band. Austrian rock and roll. Yeah. Thank you very much for paying attention. I'll be back later. Stay cool.